Hey guys, my name is Ryan and welcome to HitScan. Happy New Year. I wasn't expecting to make this video because literally everything from the latest agent Yoru has been leaked, including the abilities and what they do. So we are going to go over those leaks. I'm not really a fan of doing videos like this, to be brutally honest, but it has to be done, and I know a lot of you guys are going to be interested in what this new agent does. Let's start with the abilities. Let's waste no time with stuff like this. The first ability is called Bait, and this is the teased ability, the Easter egg that was on the icebox map with the steps walking across. It is exactly as people assumed it would be. It is an echo that, when activated, simulates the sound of footsteps. You use one button to set it up and to place it, and then another button, probably pressing it again to be brutally honest, to send the footsteps off. Similar to a Cypher's cyber cage. You place it down, you press the button again when you're looking towards it to activate it. It's a very similar thing here. You can activate it immediately as this person is showing, or you can place it down, wait for a while. If you look at the top of the ability, you can see roughly the time that it takes for it to run out. So there is enough time for you to place it down on B main, for example, on bind, run all the way to A main, throw that ability on, have those footsteps run down B main, catch a few people by surprise perhaps, and then bait them into going somewhere else. There's a lot of interactions and stuff that can be used with this ability. As you can imagine, a lot of really fun things that you could most likely do to surprise or to bait people, as the ability is called. It's only 100 credits, so it's super cheap, but it's not really that useful in the middle of a gunfight, hence the reason that this agent Yoru is a lurker duelist, as we already know. It's hard to know whether this trips up Cypher tripwires or gets spotted by, I don't know, Killjoy turret. I assume not, but all those interactions we will test in the future. Going on to the second ability, which is actually surprisingly a flash. It's called Stunning, apparently. I translated this from Russian, so there might be a couple of things that are a bit wrong, but this is, you press the skill button to rip out an unstable piece of reality, you press the fire button to throw the fragment, but the fragment only explodes when it hits a hard surface. It's a bit similar to, I suppose, Breach's flash, where it has to connect to a solid surface, but reacts more like a typical flashbang would in something like Counter-Strike, which is super cool. It is 200 credits, you can carry 2, so it's a pretty potent, strong flash to enable you to entry into a site, but maybe not as strong as something like Sky or Breaches, who are more set up to initiate a fight instead of setting yourself up right, as we all know. So that's generally how it works. If you just throw it up into the air and it doesn't connect to anything like you're seeing, it's not going to do anything at all, actually. So you can use it to throw it in pretty instantly right into your face, or you can use it to bounce off a wall further on into a site. So it reacts very typically to a Counter-Strike flash, which I think is honestly kind of an interesting thing and a much more impactful way and a higher skill ceiling than, let's say, a Phoenix's or a Breach's. So even in this sense, I could see this agent being really strong and really powerful, as you are seeing on screen. Ability number 3, this is a super interesting one, is Uninvited Guest. You press the skill button to bind a portal thread, you press the fire button to send the thread forward, you press the activate button to teleport along the thread. You can also place it down on the ground as a more stationary thing. Similar to, I guess, like a Phoenix's ult, you could just put it on the spot, jump through a teleporter like this guy is showing, and then teleport back. It's effectively a teleport ability that can be used to go a little bit further than, say, Omen's Shrouded Step, for example, but it will be moving, it will be making noise, it should be able to get caught out. Hard to know whether you can fire this into the air. For example, if you are on the low ground of the A site on Haven, can you use this to jump into heaven? I would say unlikely, but it's a really good ability to create some space to jump into some positions to catch people out. There seems to be an audio cue, so you will be heard if you try to use this across an area where an enemy is, for example, but it should be a good way for you to close some distance, get in behind the enemy team, but also the risk is that you get heard and you get killed. Very similarly to an Omen teleport with a bit more range and a bit more usefulness, I suppose, with the versatility of said ability. It's a really interesting one. Uninvited Guest is a bit of a weird name for an ability, to be brutally honest, but this is, again, another interesting ability that could do quite a lot of damage. And the ultimate, we have been talking about this, we've been talking about this mask, and a lot of people assumed it would be the new agent. They'd be right. Its ultimate is Spatial Drift, where you put on a mask that allows you to see through dimensions. You press the fire button to move in a dimension where you're invulnerable and invisible to enemies. I can't tell, nor do I know if you are audible to the enemies, similar to the footsteps ability, whether enemies can hear if you're around or not, whether there's any indication, but you can't pull out your gun during this. So it's effectively a longer version of Reyna's dismiss ability. You can run around, you most likely can see enemies, I would assume, whilst you're in this form. So it allows you to get information, it allows you to get in behind them yet again, but they're going to be looking for you, much like an Omen ultimate. They're going to be checking their flanks and behind them just in case you teleported there. A lot of people were worried about an invisible ability, but looking at this ultimate, considering it's an ultimate and also that you can't fire, you can't really do much other than scout out for information or try to get in behind the enemy who are going to be looking for you anyway. I don't think that this is super strong. In fact, I think a lot of the utility for Yoru is really good, but nothing that makes me think, oh, this guy's super overpowered. I think Riot, on the face of it, bear in mind this could very much change. I've done a really good job at just making you go, oh, right, yeah, these are super strong abilities, but not super overpowered that it breaks the game in a Sombra or Brigitte kind of way, but we'll have to wait and see on that front. So to quickly recap with the abilities, you've got Bait, which is the fake footsteps one. You can fire this off instantly, or you can hold on to it, use it as a bait ability mid-round or late round if you want to. There is a bit of a duration on when this ability can be used, so if you place it down and wait like a minute and a half, most likely it will be rescinded at that point, so do bear that in mind. You've got Stunning, which is the flash, which seems to have a lot of high ceiling with how to use it. Maybe not quite levels of Jonas lineups with Silver Recon darts, but similar, I would imagine. I think this is going to be a super strong ability, the strongest ability that they may have. Uninvited Guest is also pretty good, being able to sneak in, teleport onto certain angles where you're not spotted, but of course there's going to be a risk, much like Omen's teleport. And Spatial Drift, the impactful, going invisible, scaring everybody ability, looks very strong at gaining information or gaining an advantage in a position, but I don't think it seems that strong that people should be super panicked about it. I am annoyed that this got leaked. I don't want to talk too much about sort of plans, I suppose, on the channel going into this week, but it happens. Hopefully Riot rectify this kind of thing in the future, but it is exciting to see this agent. It is exciting to see how the abilities are going to work, have a better understanding of how they're going to play in the game, and they're going to be in the game very shortly, so I can't wait to get more information on them. I can't wait to see how their abilities interact with others, how you can get in behind a Killjoy turret if you can, those kind of interactions that we did with Sky. Very excited to do this with Yoru as well. So welcome to the latest agent. We'll have all of the other stuff I seen with battle passes and all of that kind of content over the new year, so make sure to subscribe, and until next time, take care. We'll see you then.